That's great.
Wow.
Oh, wow. We've been live for like 10 seconds. There you go.
What?
Well, I see 5 on the screen.
What?
So
Well, yeah, you see 5. I see 16 seconds. It's still counting.
here, Clyde says we're live. Okay, let's go. It's my time.
I love that the cat just knows when you're live.
Yep.
It's like, we're going to do this.
We've been sitting here for 15 minutes. And he says, you're live? I'm here.
There you go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Brick Nite. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're at listening to this episode right now. I hope you are all ears because this is a very special episode. As you can see from the title, this is our mental health awareness special because May is the month of mental health awareness. As you can see, it's myself, Kennard, and then, of course, we have the Hawks. You have La Supercabre as well as Unhappy Mohawk, which makes the amazing duo of Super Hawk bricks. We unfortunately don't have Brick and Jake. Brick and Jake is taking care of a personal matter, so we wish him the best, and you'll see him next week. He'll be back for our very special episode with another special guest, and we'll go over that later on. But, no spoilers yet. But we have some very special guests who have decided to join us. They were on last season, which is amazing. We got some last season special guests who are going to be joining us, which is awesome. But I'm really glad our special guest actually reached out and was like, you guys should do this, like a mental health awareness episode. I was like, I'm down for it.
Yep, totally.
I'm down for it. Let's talk about how Lego and mental health awareness kind of work hand in hand. But we'll be introducing, of course, our guests, Brick Dad Builds, and then, of course, Lego Master Corey, and then Lego Masters Contestant Tacos.
3 different guests.
3 different guests, which is amazing. But without further ado, let's roll that very special intro that we love so dearly. There we go. There's everybody.
What's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up?
Good evening.
Welcome back.
Talk about being mental.
Good to have everybody here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We keep our.
What's up?
As Ken said, I'm the guilty party for bringing us all together this evening. I thought it was something that needed to be addressed, and with the month of May being mental health awareness, I thought who better than our 2 guests down below to be here as well as our normal general host that bring us together every week. So thank you guys for all being here. With the topic of Lego and mental health, each of us have unique perspectives on how that applies, whether it does or doesn't in some respects. Sometimes Lego can cause mental health problems as well. So we'll kick it off with some general chat if you guys are all good with that. Just for those that don't know who's here, if you're a normal watcher, I hope you know who's here. So
I would hope you know who's here because that would just be terrible. It's like at this
well,
point,
we do have first-time watchers sometimes, so sharing those links and getting people out there so they can come in and actually hear the message. So
we do have Shinobi Turtle, which is great because it's just Ninja Turtle, which I love. He was on the episode. He was last week.
Episode, yeah. It was one of our giveaway winners.
Chicken dinner.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty sweet chassis coming his way, which is great.
And he'll be racing it.
Last week we had Brick Derby on the episode, and they did a giveaway for some of their product for the Lego Brick Derby. So they gave out Brick Derby chassis, and then they gave a giveaway out for
some lead bricks too.
Yep, the lead bricks.
These really cool 2x2 zinc weights.
Yeah, to weigh it down.
You guys would probably be interested in that also for the STEM teaching and stuff like that. Being able to counterbalance for mechanics and stuff like that. So
yeah, I just got my package in the mail and I opened it up and I'm like, what are these? Like, is this like being out of zinc? Like, what is this? It's so heavy. So I'm gonna try it out in class. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Oh, I got my package in the mail. I didn't expect it.
I didn't get mine yet. So
Say, out of that entire live, I was the loser in the whole thing there. I was the one person that didn't win, just to throw that out there. I don't care about that at all because I know what Brick Derby is going to bring with them to Brick World Chicago, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with the stuff. So I'm happy.
Nice.
You'll be able to show off those in-person building skills there at the show. You can build one
Well,
there.
I've got some tricks up my sleeve with some pre-builds that I know can go on a chassis. So,
Okay.
Smart.
Introduce myself for those that don't know. I go by Brick Dad. My name is actually Chris. You can call me either or refer to me as whichever you choose. I also go by the mustache at periods. I'm a 50-year-old guy that builds Lego in my basement. And how I came to be here, I've gone through multiple dark ages with Lego. I've raised children to adulthood, and I've now started over with some more children. The circumstances of that is part of what sparked me to want to have a mental health awareness live tonight, because those children are what's referred to as Gold Star children. If you're not sure what a Gold Star child is, they're surviving children from a military loss. One of their parents, who was active duty military, passed away. And I've been blessed to become a bonus dad for them and to be able to share life with them and share Lego with them. So
I was about to say that. Dude looks 40.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you. So, that's Lego does it for you. So keep you young young in mind, young in heart. And
my hands are 90, but my face is 40.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But I'm also a widower. I lost my wife in 2016, November 17th of 2016, and part of my grief period was finding Lego again and being able to re-embrace Lego to help get through things, just to be able to refocus myself at times and stuff like that. So being able to bring this up for people of how do you deal with grief? How do you deal with mental health? How do you deal with the normal daily stresses of just getting through the day and getting through life? So, Taco, I know you have a lot of fitness stuff that you do. And Corey, you're a dad as well, correct?
Yep, I'm fortunately lucky. He's sleeping right now.
Well, okay, I'll talk a little quieter to make sure we don't wake him.
Okay.
He's gonna wake up. So you understand a lot of the trials of being a parent and raising kids. Taco, I don't know if you have children or not.
I have mini Taco.
Mini Taco. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
She has
the offsprings that's fallen into the tortillas. Got it. So, so as parents, a lot of us understand the difficulties of daily stresses and dealing with things. I don't know how well Lego plays into a part for everyone else, but I know for me, being able to have that outlet is something that's beneficial for me.
I think we mostly share that, I think. Or,
Yeah.
Lego has tapped into that for many of us, I think.
Yeah, I know for me, God, I went through a dark age with Lego, and then I came back, but it was during like COVID, and I didn't know if I was actually going to stick myself back into that realm. And then like I kept buying more sets, and then at one point, work always frustrates me. Work always will frustrate somebody unless you really love your job. Then that's a different story. But my job will constantly stress me out. And I think there was one day I went to the store, I went to Target, went down the Lego aisle, picked up a set, went home, built it, and then my mind was at peace. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I needed. I needed that stress relief, and then I needed to just have that kind of breakaway from reality. It was definitely nice. Oh no,
I've always found myself promoting Lego as a means of stress relief, as you mentioned. Couple of things I've done during the pandemic, one particular, and I'm sure we'll get into more, but I still do corporate Zoom meetings or events. And at those events, there are CEOs, CFOs, executives, and we're just building a Lego set. And as we're building the set, I'm just merely talking to them about the set, talking to them about, Lego life or my life with Lego. And, when I hear these executives saying, I came off of a business call, not knowing what I would expect doing this event. And this is the most calm I've ever experienced, just being able to just build. And we mainly do like the botanical lines because that resonates more with adults of that age to build a flower. Some of them, they've taken up florists just to have some sort of zen in their homes, and being able to just build that, and encourage them to build that has definitely helped them. I used to work in a corporate structure. I understand what it's like to start at entry level and work your way all the way up to a near executive level, so I understand the stress level, and around that time, it truly, I'm very dedicated into anything that I do. That's how I was raised, and I put a lot into my work. And for me, it was always about getting to the next level. And I would sacrifice friends. I sacrificed relationships. I didn't sacrifice my education. I stayed focused on education because I wanted to climb up that ladder. But in the road in doing that, I lost a lot of friends along the way. I lost a lot of relationships along the way. And, I thought I was doing what you're supposed to do, as a young man, work and get better at, whatever field you're in. And then boom, I got told that my entire department was getting outsourced to India, and they gave me a severance package. They didn't even give me an offer to move to another position. I even said, hey, I will take a step down in pay. I will go, backwards in order to stay with the company because I believe in the company and I believe in, what I'm doing here. And they were like, no, your last day is May. My last day is May 7th, I think it was. And here's your severance. And, thank you for all your service. And that was like 11 years. Like I was so I get it. It's a lot. And Lego has helped to get through that.
Man.
Have you been STEM teaching? Is that part of that transition as well? Or did you is that recently where you started with STEM?
It is a little bit. So after that, I sat home for a year. I was going to polish up my resume and jump right back into the pool and try to get another job. But at the time I was told, hey, you know what, take a break, don't go to work for a full year, live off the severance, do some Uber or something like that to pay the bills, but just take a year off, figure out what it is you want to do next. So that was the time I was getting out of my, dark age. And I started getting back into Lego, and I said, okay, well, I build these Lego brooches, Bregos, I call them. Maybe I can make that into a successful career. Maybe I could focus my attention there. And I started to do that. But then I realized, all right, this is like starting a business from the ground up, and I kind of need money now because I have a family. So I went on Indeed. After that year was up, I went on Indeed and I literally typed in Lego. That's all I did. So I started seeing positions at the Lego store and all that stuff. And then I saw this one ad that said Lego STEM instructor. And I was like, Lego STEM instructor. I was like, what can that possibly be? And at first I thought it was spam. So I was like, I don't even know if I want to click this. But then I saw the name of the website, Playwell Technology. And I said, okay, I'll check it out. Clicked it, set up an interview. We did a Zoom call. I had to make a YouTube video of what I would do with 10,000 ping pong balls. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to make this fun. And I did that, and instantly they said, hey, when can you come in to do an in-class interview? Did the in-class interview, and I was like, I love this. Like, this might be my calling. I enjoyed seeing the kids interact with the Lego. I enjoyed seeing them learn about STEM and learn about just building stuff organically. because that's how I learned how to build Lego. I never learned building stuff. If I build a set, it was for me to learn how to do something that I want to do. So that kind of drove me into that field, and then I stayed in that field until the pandemic. And once the pandemic hit, the same thing happened. The rug was pulled underneath me. They shut down all operations on the East Coast, and I said, you know what? I'm never going to do this again. I started an LLC called Sam's Brego, and the rest is history. I've been in business for 5 years now, and I don't intend to be told that my job is getting outsourced or everything's getting shut down. So that's no longer to happen.
Services are no longer needed situation.
Exactly. So, not going to happen.
Heck yeah.
Like getting into STEM for you.
Wait,
You cut out.
Did the audio cut out? Yeah.
It's so low. What was the question?
It's asking about how you got into STEM as well.
So before I got into STEM, before I got into engineering school, I was a pre-K Spanish teacher. And on days that it was raining, the kids weren't allowed to play outside. So I would take the furniture, the desks and stuff like that, and turn it into an indoor obstacle course. I became fascinated with, just structural design. I was tired of all the bureaucratic stuff that would happen in classes, how much time I would spend in the class just decorating, and how, just putting all this extra effort wasn't really, paying the bills. So I went back to school for engineering, went to school for architecture design, and once I graduated, I landed the same job as Corey. I blended physics with play, and I worked at the same company. So like him, I was a Lego engineering instructor. I think I have like 4 years on you for years on him. And we worked for the same company. And then during the pandemic, it closed. My mission has always been the same, whether it's Lego, whether it's cardboard and graham crackers. I believe that, not my calling, but I've been drawn to teach STEAM, honestly. During the pandemic, the doors to Playwell closed. I worked at a small arts and science museum, and there I did the same thing, not using Lego, using cardboard, paper, toilet tubes, whatever the heck you call it. I used all that to teach, Da Vinci's or ornithopter kind of stuff. So, and then during the pandemic, I received a rather large donation, mostly Star Wars. People are going to hate me when I tell them it was about almost $5,000 worth of Lego, and had to take it apart, cannibalize, and build a kit. And that's actually when I started, Powered by Tacos.
We will never hate you for using Lego.
I had to take
the Lego that sits in boxes and doesn't get used that we hate for.
It was so mucky. It was gross. I found rat turds and Band-Aids. But I took it apart. I had to do what I had to do in order to start my business.
So you're saying I should remove the rat turds and Band-Aids out of my current set that I'm using for the kids?
No, that helps build character.
Okay. Exactly. That's what I thought. Some of my kids, they actually use it to tell stories.
Immune system. Immune system. Yeah,
I'm over here eating steak right now, and it's not that great.
With the two stories that you guys just told, the stress and anxiety, I can only imagine the frustration and everything that you guys went through with the transitions on multiple occasions going through all that. And yet you guys stuck with Lego in that background to continue forward with it. Is that because you found peace with that, or because that was just something that you guys were comfortable with, or it was something that you could relate across the board with people?
Honestly, I don't have an attention span beyond like a third grader. So I have a lot to relate with the kids, and Lego is just such a freaking cool element that you could combine different pieces. You know what I mean? So it's it's not as accessible as some may think, but I'm not a Lego. What do you call it? What do I call it?
Purist.
Purist. I'm not a Lego purist. Every once in a while you may find Lego because people donate it. You know what I mean? So, but you know, the fact that I can actually sometimes use something that's compatible, you know, I can reach kids a little bit more that way.
Mhm.
But
I found the same thing.
I buy 99.9% like just for you purists out there.
I've worked a little bit with some Flago companies looking at evaluating sets and stuff like that from a builder perspective, not necessarily a marketing side, but looking at how well it integrates with other Lego and stuff like that for compatibility reasons and stuff like that. So I can definitely relate to that aspect of it. So Corey?
I guess I always say that Lego is the most creative toy that has ever been created to this world. It could be anything. It starts off with one piece and then it becomes a masterpiece, right? So that's what I always tell my students. Honestly, for me, Lego has always stuck because Lego has always been in my life. My parents didn't buy me G.I. Joes, Hot Wheels, any of those other toys. The toys that all my other friends were playing, my parents would never get that for me. And they were very strict when it came to that. But when they saw, I used to go to a preschool and I used to play with the Lego. It was a big bin of Lego at this preschool. And I would always go to that Lego bin and I wouldn't even interact with any of the kids. I wouldn't play with any of them. I wouldn't do anything. I would just sit there and build for 8 hours, right? And my mom and dad, they saw that and they said, okay, well, let's get him this because, you know, at least he'll stay active doing that. And that has always been who I was as a kid growing up. And, you know, it was that day that I saw the kids interacting at that same level. I saw me and them. And I saw that I can definitely not only extend to them the joys of what Lego has brought to me, but I can also unlock certain characteristics, certain happiness that Lego can that has done for me. So that's why I've always stayed with Lego, and that's why I created my business. And I mean, we were on Lego Masters, so I kind of can't go anywhere else. I can't deviate from that because that's
stuck now.
Lego is life right now at this point.
I'm locked in. Exactly. So, but yeah, I always encourage my kids that you know, at the end of the day, even if they come in, they said they've never built a Lego set before, they never touched Lego before, or they only built sets and they don't know how to build something organically. You know, by the end of the time they're with me, by the end of the session, you know, it could be 5 weeks, 10 weeks, you know, for some kids a year, they'll leave out of there being able to say, hey, I could look at this set and I could look at something totally different to build from this set. And you know, that's what I love to encourage in my students.
2 kids that I have, one is named Gene and the other is Emmy. Gene is 11 years old and he is an instruction builder. His ability to look outside of the instructions for the creativity of what the bricks can be is growing, but still limited to his scope of being able to look outside of it. Where Emmy, she's an 8-year-old and she will sit down and she will just say, I'm going to build something pretty. I don't know what, but I'm going to build it. And she will take whatever is sitting in a dish or in a tub in front of her and just start putting pieces together and free build whatever her mind creates. So she doesn't have that preconceived notion of it needs to be this. It's going to be whatever I make it. So having both of those kids has really shown me how people can be so different, but yet still share something like that with the Lego. So being able to see that with you guys, and I follow you guys a lot, and I see your posts and I see the interactions you guys have and stuff like that. I know you guys are very limited on what you can share with the kids in it because of their protections and stuff like that, and I totally respect that. But also being able to show what you guys are building with the kids and the interactions of how they're building things, I love seeing that. You guys are doing great work, so I appreciate that as a parent and as, you know, somebody that's trying to encourage kids in that same realm. So
this is just a side note directly to tacos. Now, do you see why I post so much? Now, do you see why I post these long videos showing people exactly what it is that we do? What it is?
Oh, dude, I love your stories. They're great on Instagram.
She hates them. She's like, "Oh, this should be like 5 seconds and that's it." I'm like, this is not for me.
I don't want to end up becoming white noise. I used to post a lot of my students, and now I now I technically have my students more for my exclusive patrons. That's what they get to see more behind how everything is done. But
you have to respect her attention span.
Yes. Yeah. I myself, like I told you, I don't have that long of attention span. I'm more like a toddler.
For the people like Brick Dad who do have the attention span to
thank you, Brick Dad, for paying attention.
For them.
And that's why you work so well together.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. We argue more than anything, but that's fine.
You more argue. I just listen.
Corey, I do got to say though, your videos of you two harping at each other are probably still some of my favorites.
We got more.
Oh, fantastic.
That being said, sticking with the theme, you could have a really bad day and you could get back to Lego, and you've seen that reel where it's just noisy, and then whatever the person's passionate about, that noise goes away. That applies to students. I like to work with a lot of complex learners, kids who have behavioral issues. They're not always the easiest to deal with, but we're the fun teachers. So it's a privilege technically to be in our classes, but once they are at our class, we don't know what happened in school. We don't know what kind of day they had. Sometimes we'll get a heads up. I'll get a heads up like, hey, Timmy had a difficult day or whatever. Oftentimes I don't get that. In our Lego classes, they get to kind of like reset, and they just forget about everything else, and they get back to that creative side. Like Corey said, you start off with one piece and then you end up with a masterpiece. You've heard about the fact that 6 2x4s make over 900 million combinations. Imagine just a bin full of Lego. So, imagine the mastermind behind that, the masterpieces that come from that, so that's what I think.
No, I think that's amazing. And we did just lose the guy who brought this episode together. So
Let me back up a second. So it's storming over where he's at.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance he may be coming and going here.
There he is.
We can start talking trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to let him in yet. So talk as much
we're
as
going to stay backstage. Go ahead and
if this is how you cope with your mental health, then that's completely fine.
I told you. I have issues. I told you.
It has nothing to do with the mental health.
For search, I dropped.
For the people that talk junk just to get their mental health, they're down at the bottom. Terrible. Oh my god. Oh no, I'm just kidding. No, I think it's beautiful what you guys do. Just like what brother from another brick said, Corey and Tacos, good job for what y'all are doing for the youth. I think it's great because you're spanning that creativity amongst the youth, and I think it's awesome too because you get to see it develop. You can see it in their faces whenever they're building. You're just like, oh my god, I did this, and they're doing it right in front of me. I think that's
the ability to be the fun teacher. You guys can bring a kid in that's having a bad day and completely change their day with Lego by teaching them and making them learn. So,
it's awesome. During the pandemic, when I first started Sans Brego, the teaching aspect of Sans Brego, I started doing Zoom classes, right? Because most of the kids they're home, they're not in school, they're doing Zoom, and it's boring for them, So I said, what if I started teaching my classes on Zoom? So I got the word out. Some kids joined. One particular kid, I'll tell you a quick story about him. He joined my class, and I had a class of maybe 5 or 6 kids, and he would never cam up. He would never come off of mute. But I will always give the kids a different challenge, right? So it will be a challenge like, all right, guys, if you're outside, or if you can go outside, build on the grass or build in the dirt. See how difficult it is to build on an unstable surface. You have kids that are in third world countries that may have a Lego and they don't have a table. They have to build on the floor. They have to build on the ground, so I want you to experience what it's like for them to build. So I'm trying to give them a different world experience. And, at the end of the class, I would say, all right, guys, it's time to showcase. Show us what you built. And every kid will come on. They'll say, oh, I built this or that. And there's one student never cammed up. never cammed up. He would always type in the chat, "Oh, I built this," and I'm like, okay. So a couple weeks went by, a couple months went by, and this kid, he would always take my class. I would always reset, offer a new theme. He would always take it. And then one day, I decided to do a Star Wars theme, and he lit up. He loved Star Wars. So the first class, it was to rewrite the ending of a Star Wars ending. So so for him, it was like, instead of Luke or instead of Darth Vader dying, he switched it, and he had, like, I think he was like Luke died instead, and Darth Vader saved him or something like that. And he worked on this. He worked on this and everything like that. And then I said, all right, it's time to showcase. His cam came on. He came off of mute, started talking, and he was just going and going. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, where did you come from? Where did all this come from? This was here the whole time. And
you found that trigger.
Yeah. So his mother reached out to me and said, hey, I just want you to know, he has never came on any cam for any of his virtual classes, never came on to speak. He had some difficulties in school being able to talk to people. He had social anxieties, and he had trouble in school. And when the pandemic came, it was good for him because he get to stay home, but he was still, that part of him was underdeveloped. And my classes have been helping him to get to a safe space where he can actually talk about what he built and what he's passionate about. Years later, we've done multiple virtual classes. I've actually gone to he lives in Denver. I've gone to Denver several times to meet him and his family. We had dinner. Right now he's into football because now he's 13. He started doing that when he was around 8 years old, and now he's in football and everything like that. So we don't have any more classes together because he's getting older now, and but his parents always says, hey, he just finished build this set, or he just had this this event or whatever at school, and he was one of the speakers, something that he would have never done. And he's actually able to do that. So, when I hear stories
you
like
broke
that,
down a barrier with Lego for him.
Exactly.
That's what this live is about, is being able to change that stigma of, I can't do something because of this, because of my mental health, my mental blocks, my things like this. But being able to use that Lego to actually get him, you found his trigger, which was Star Wars. And he's like, oh, I can talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's always the case for a lot of us AFOs. Like, a lot of us, we just need that one set. We just need that one theme to trigger us. And we're like, oh, I could talk about this all day. And then it breaks down the barriers.
I love seeing that at the conventions when you see kids that are shy or just kind of reserved, and then you see them go by something that is like, oh, I like this. And you see that change, and it's like you said, it completely lightens their day, and a whole mood switch. It changes everything. And the other thing I love seeing is when they're in the build pit, when they're over there creating something, and it's like, your imagination is amazing. And the fact that you can just enjoy this simple task and be content and nothing is bothering you, and you're just having the time of your life. Mom and dad are having a good time. Like, everybody's in their moment. Everybody's chill. They're building. It's like, the energy is amazing that's half the reason I love going to the shows.
The build pit,
with people.
The fact that all the brick over there is the same color and they're still building stuff because they see something in their head and they're just building it and seeing it, and it's all green or it's all red, or seeing them build out of it and stuff like that. Yeah, that's amazing. And there's people that will go over, and parents will come over and say, oh, make sure you take it apart when you're done. No, leave it. No. It's going to inspire somebody else. Somebody's going to come over, pick it up, and build onto it to change it or do this. And if it sits there for a half hour, I'll go over and I'll take it apart and make sure the brick's available for other people. But I'm like, it's a build table. Let it stay.
You'll see kids building something. So, for example, Josh one time started building with a kid and showed him how to build a pyramid. And that's all he did, a simple pyramid, whatever. Well, some of the other kids saw what was going on, and they start building pyramids. We come back an hour and a half later, there's this pyramid with bridges and another pyramid and this dome-shaped, cone.
You look all the way down the table. There's just
table.
Kids make
It was
pyramids
so
everywhere.
infectious that it's like, Yes, like that's what it's about. Because none of you kids would have been building together. You'd have been building your own thing. But you all saw this creation coming together, and you're like, I can do that. I can build this little, simple triangle pyramid and add it. Can we put this here? Yes, you can. And so it was so cool to see.
And, in kids, they don't see boundaries, they don't see race, they don't see any of that stuff when they're building with other kids. Like they're going to a Lego store, to a Lego show, thinking, oh, we're going to see a whole bunch of cool Lego stuff, and we might see a few influencers and Lego masters and stuff like that. They see that brick pit, they see another kid in there. They're gonna jump onto that, and they're gonna add on to that, and then the parents start talking, and then, oh, you don't live that far from where we are. Okay, then a play date happens, then a Lego program could pop up. It's like wildfire, that's what it's all about.
Building in the community. I have no idea why I did that. It was just something unrelated.
See, that's actually a great point, because my local city library, county library, actually does build nights once a month at the library. So they have their conference room area, and they have a ginormous tub, and they will put tables together. They dump it out, and it's a build club. It's open to the public. Anybody that wants to come can build minifigures, base plates, bricks, stuff like that. Bricks and minifigs, they love to donate, and local ones do. And they're like, if that's in my region, I have no problem donating some brick to help foster that program so that they can come in and build. And once a month, we're trying to push for 2, but my kids love to go and do that as long as they have the time, because they do sports as well. So if it's a night we can go, we'll definitely go. I had one night where we had a parent that was sitting at the table building with his kids, and he got so engrossed in it that a couple other kids came in and were lost in, well, there's no seats at the table. We can get another table. But the dad was there just building into it. So
I forget about that. Earlier, like you mentioned, Corey, you love seeing whenever we see like kids in the build pit, and there's no distinction of race there. I remember this moment going to the Lego store and just seeing a kid grab another kid, just like bring him over to the set corner that they were at. Like, if you're going to get this set, you should totally get the set. And then next thing you know, the parents started mingling. And I was like, oh my God, this is just great. Yeah. I love seeing that. They were both like 8 years old. One of them really liked Star Wars. The other one really liked Friends themes. And he came over. It was just like, if you really like building buildings, check this out. I was like, if you're taking them to Star Wars, there's not really much building. And he went into this whole thing. He was just like, yeah, you should totally have a spaceship for the house. And what's great is the little girl didn't care. She was just like, Mommy, can I do this for the house? And Mom looked over and was like, you know what? Do whatever you want with this. I think this is amazing that you're doing this. And she made a friend out of this. And I was just like, I was sitting there, I was like, this is too cute. Yes. I gotta get my sets to get out of here. And there was one woman in there. She looked over at me. She was like, "Oh my God, that's so adorable!" And I was like, "Ain't it?" Mm-hmm. Kids doesn't matter. Kid just completely random was just like, "Hey, you're looking at these. You should look at this. This is really cool."
See, at Lego stores is parents that bring their kids in, and the kids go over to the pad wall, and they just start building off of the pad wall with whatever is there. And the parents go build something. We're gonna buy the $14 box, the whatever box, and we're gonna put it in the box. So build it, and they just literally build off the pad wall, and then they go over and get a couple minifigs, and that's their Lego trip. Now, is that in their budget? Is that because that's what they can afford, and they can't get some of these higher dollar sets? I don't know, but the fact that the kids go and they actually build in the store off of the pad wall, I'm like, this is awesome. I'll just stand here and watch them and enjoy this. And, it sparks creativity for me when I see them putting pieces together that I'm like, I never would have thought of using those two pieces together. Now I'm building some big monstrosity back at home that I could actually do something like that or use those pieces in a certain way like that. So, but
that's why I always, I'm so appreciative of the show, because, for the beginning of this career that I'm in now, all started because of the show. And I remember me and my brother when we first was asked to be on the show and we first went to auditions and everything like that, you know, we looked around the room and we saw all the different faces, all the different types of people, all the different, you know, backgrounds all in one room. And I was like, man, this has the making of being something epic, you know, because we always look at, you know, other shows that's Lego Masters and we kind of see one specific type of people, you know, from wherever they're filming from, and that's just how the world is made up. But America is like a melting pot, like everybody's here. So, you know, when me and my brother got on, we said to ourselves, you know, we're not going to win. We knew that we weren't going to win. I mean, these are some heavy hitters that we're going up against, but you know, one kid is going to turn on the TV and they're going to see us, and when they see us, they're going to look at themselves and say, hey, we got the same skin color, we have the same type of hair, you know. And, you know, look at these guys, you know, or they're going to see these females like, oh my gosh, I love to wear wings and stuff like that. You know, I love to do that stuff. And I see people doing that in here, you know. Oh, this lady calls herself tacos, you know. It's like, I call myself something, you know. So the show is a reflection of different people that get a chance to see and resonate with someone that they see on TV. And then they go to conventions and then they can run into us and see us. And when they have the conversation, like, oh my gosh, you're just a regular person. It's like, yeah. And like, and I've been through some hard stuff. I've been through some terrible stuff in my life, but guess what? Lego has helped me through it. And Lego can help you through it. You know, so it's all connected. Different webs, but it's all connected.
And conventions do a great way of showing you all the sides of life with people who share a common interest, because the Lego community is not one type of person. Like there's so many, and you find people that you didn't know you would have other interests in,
right,
than Lego, because you were there for the Lego. And it's an ever-growing community, even if you don't hang out and build Lego. Like we've made friends and we go play disc golf. We don't even build Lego together, but we met at a Lego convention. So
with Josh and Lindsay all the time, and we couldn't be more different looking, standing next to each other and stuff like that than anything, you know. But they're great people, and I absolutely love hanging out with them and spending time with them. And you know, I would definitely let them borrow my cat if they needed to. Speaking of which, you got a couple extra?
I mean, like a friend.
Like I would have.
Would you Tacos, would you let anyone borrow Fupa?
No.
He's the bestest dog. He's the bestest boy. I would never. No, you come over and hug him. That's it. That's it.
One finger on his back. That's it.
That's it.
We'll let you pet him. That's it. If he's in my lap.
He's the best.
Yes, I will hold him.
Now, I hate to bring this aspect up, but with the mental health awareness, a downside to Lego is the incessant need to continue to buy.
Right.
The next set, we need more. The next one's coming up. I'm going to max my credit card to get that new set that's coming out June 1st.
Impulse.
And that's an aspect that, the impulse stuff. So, yeah, I with the exception of Corey, I'm not sure. You know,
when I raise my
Lego
hand,
or shoes.
When I raise my hand, honestly, it's during the pandemic is when I was experiencing a lot of depression, and it's a pandemic. Most people have lost their jobs. I lost both. I lost that. I lost family. And during the pandemic, a business is going to do what a business does. Lego came out with over 500 sets during the pandemic. When people are now discovering this hobby during a pandemic, it's not fiscally, responsible. And that is what I struggled with. One of the things that I struggled with is minute. I was like, oh my gosh, all right, I gotta get a new Lego set. Reality is I need a job. I needed to see my family. And it's the pressure of seeing social media, posting the new stuff, and having that FOMO is extremely toxic. I hate to say that. So yes, I am an advocate for Lego, for using it in so many plethora of ways. That's not redundant, but it is a business, and it just feeds into each other. You have people that are not. The people are posting the front side of their mocks, the front side of their Lego displays. We don't see what's happening behind the screen.
Yeah.
We don't realize a lot of people are going into deficit because of this. People are running out of space. People are wedging themselves from their families and their cats and you know what I mean? Like it's
an isolation block to separate them from the emotional aspect of the world around them that they're trying to avoid. Because that means they have to embrace it and deal with it.
Everybody's kind of background situation. Like, this is how we're looking right now.
I will say mine's an absolute disaster because we have 3 weeks before Chicago and it's been half panic built. So like my table behind me is sheer anxiety for me.
I'm in the same boat as you, so don't even go there.
I will definitely piggyback off of that though.
I can only put my elbow in certain areas because if not, I know I'm going to hit Lego. So yeah,
my desk is completely jam packed. But no, I'll bounce off of that because it is stressful at times because my favorite theme, of course, is Star Wars, and they're periodically just coming out with way too many sets for anyone to buy at once. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I love this theme. I love this theme and I love this company, but I need y'all to slow down because there's nobody out there in the world who's going to max out their credit card for all of these. I love to get the architecture sets. Those are not in my price range at this time, and I can't do it.
See, and that's the kicker too, is you're looking at these sets and you're like, they're not in my price range right now, but if I don't get them, they're going to retire, and then it's going to cost me even more. So that puts even extra pressure on you, and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this to fix that need of what I want? So
has the real estate to host a 7-foot freaking statue in their home. If you do, invite me over because I just want to check out your Lego collection. I promise I will keep my hands to myself. I will not walk away with any Lego.
If you don't need the box, you can have any set.
That's the biggest thing.
All of us, and I can guarantee this, all of us here have enough Lego that if we went to the Lego website and looked up the instructions and pulled all those pieces, we could build that set and have that set. So it is a FOMO because there are so many sets, and Lego has come up with so many unique pieces lately that even if you get the instructions, you still got to go on Bricklink or Lego and order pieces. But to curb that, I want to go buy that set, we get the instructions and we just build it. Because I cannot afford to go buy every set that I want because I would have a lot of Lego and nowhere to put it.
I will speak on behalf of those folks who build Lego and don't want to break it apart. I am that part of the populace who is just like, I'll build it and it'll stay that way. But because I get where you're coming from, where anyone can just pick up the instructions of the website, but it's so hard to want to take apart something that you put together and you want to keep it that way. And that's like the hard part for me because I'm like, oh man, I know what I could do with this set. I could break this apart and turn it into so-and-so. But then I'm just like, but I really want to keep it the way it is. Like Lego purist and structural foundation. Not so much
so I purposely will leave some models together because I need parts here and there. And so whenever I find out that, hey, this Mustang happens to have a bracket right here that I'm really needing, my favorite thing to do is let's figure out a way to rebuild it or even keep it built so you can't even tell I took the brackets.
Nice.
So then I just put it back on the shelf. It's like, I got the parts I needed.
I'm gonna come to your house now and see that Mustang and be like, bro, this doesn't look right. just to mess with you.
I am so thankful for my son because he's helped me kick that habit of buying that set of release days. So for, I would say like 2 years or so, I was buying my sets, and if you guys remember my background, I had sets all the way to the ceiling. I've filmed reels where my sets have collapsed on things that I had built, my mocks that were built right there. And, Now, all of those sets are now in storage. I don't have any Lego sets in my house. They're all in storage. I haven't purchased a Lego set personally for myself in months. Whenever I do buy Lego sets, they're usually for my students. I literally spent like maybe $300 this week on just buying sets for my students because it's the end of the school year, and I always give them something at the end of the year. I call it extended learning, for them to continue learning how to build. The sneakers, same thing. It was peer pressure with my friends, and it just kind of continued on. And I said, hey, I'm going to these events. I have a certain look, a certain style. So this is a business expense. So everything you see back there, they're tax write-offs. And
right off.
They're legit.
Uniforms. Uniforms.
So they are all legit. I've spoken to tax specialists and I've explained it. They say, yeah, if you're using it for that purpose. So those sneakers, I don't remember when, because of Lego convention. So it's legit.
In the boxes for the next time you're going to wear that outfit.
Oh, people frozen.
But like Moto said, when I started mocking, that's when the FOMO kind of like, it was a huge release. Like I had never felt as good as when I started mocking, because that FOMO just left. It went out the window. And then I was aware of those that started buying stuff just so they could post it. And I'm like, holy toxicness. Like I right away, I saw the pattern because I was doing that. Well, I wasn't posting, but I saw the pattern with certain people, and I saw people saying that they were struggling financially with car issues and whatever, but they were on the bus on the way to the Lego store. So don't tell me you're struggling financially and then going with that yellow bag just to post it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's the hard thing for me.
A GoFundMe page to supply them with the set, and it's like, man, you need to chill. Like if your other people are buying them for you, like they're only helping you feed the problem.
Yeah.
Because now you're not seeing or feeling the actual impact of those sets on you, and you're getting them regularly. So you're fixing you're getting that fix of it, like an addiction. See, for me though, it's awkward because I'm in a gray area between set building and full mock, because I will take sets. My Hogwarts Castle is a great example of that, where I would take the last version of the Hogwarts Castle, built it. My son actually built it. He's the one that built the original Lego sets out of that. And he came to me and said, can we make it bigger? Because it's just not hassle. It's some sets. And I'm like, yeah, we can add to it. So what I started doing was ordering pieces off of Brick Nite and stuff like that, so that I could build individual mocks to go into it. So for me, it's a gray area of the hardship of getting those sets and then building the mocks to accentuate them, or I'll buy sets and then modify them. But the blessing for that is being able to watch the clearance aisles, the sales, to be able to buy sets that are in those inexpensive price brackets for the part sources to then build those mocks. So being able to find those soon to retire sets that they oversold or overbought, and being able to use those for parts to build mocks to accentuate existing sets is a blessing in that respect. So, but being able to mock and get parts just to mock with, like Moto said, buying bulk through multiple types of locations, thrift stores, local
Facebook
places, wherever you can find the cheap wreck. Facebook Marketplace, stuff like that. That are just sneaking over to Superhawk's house and going through some of the stuff they have. But
I mean,
we won't notice.
I'll give you a few handfuls. It's okay. I don't
We've
mind.
donated
Mohawk inventory is that.
To speak to Moto, no offense, Superhawk, but Moto's backlog, you have to go to Moto's house.
Well, see,
Because
we don't.
I tell you,
We don't have a
this guy.
backlog, though. We don't buy sets. It's just
we
bulk.
stopped set buying.
But we have compared. Me and Moto, we've had our bro time of being like, oh, you got this here. Let me show you a bag of them. Let me show you a bag. We've had a lot of fun. It's definitely there. But that's one of the reasons why I build the giant rainbow builds and bring them to the shows, is for that aspect too, for the kids and the adults. It's not even just the kids, but to show them, like, guys, you have all of this in your house. We all do. So instead of saying you can't build something, like, go on there, look up this big UCS set. And especially if it's an older stuff, like, sure, the brand new stuff, they're going to have unique pieces you might not have, but the older stuff, you can build every bit of that and make it all kinds of crazy colors and whatever you want, and just learn the techniques, learn the way that pieces connect, learn the math that's involved. And then all of a sudden,
the thing too is the option of changing pieces of, okay, it's this piece, I know how this piece works, I can find a different piece to do that, or at least be close enough to alternate that. Yeah. So yeah, being able to use existing pieces to build this stuff is definitely what we need to encourage.
And that's my mental release. Like when I'm really like just that, okay, I need a project. You know, I need something to take my mind off of all the rest of the stress. It's like, all right, what UCS set am I going to build? Well, obviously I don't have $600 to go spend on a set. Second, I don't want to buy a Star Wars set.
Facts, we don't Star
But
Wars.
I'll build it. You know, like I don't mind putting it together. I just don't want to spend the money. So then I can then look the project up, get the parts I need gathered up. So I kind of get a mental break of just life of spending 2 or 3 days just gathering some parts, going through bins. You know, you put some music on, you're in your own element.
Yeah.
Then in a few days later, it's like, cool, now I've got all the parts. I can start sorting it out. Soon, I just took a whole week and a half to build this same thing. And that, you know, if I would have went and bought the set, I would have put that together in 8 hours and been done with it. And it'd have been on the shelf.
No, it wouldn't.
We're going to have different opinions on this, but the question that came up from the chat down here, it says advice on how to be a mock builder. Corey?
I was gonna share a story regarding that, how to be a mock builder. So a couple years back, I had done a Make-A-Wish for this kid, and this kid wanted to build the Death Star, but he wanted to create a story behind it. Like he wanted to change it up. He did not have the money. The parents didn't have the money for this particular Death Star, and Make-A-Wish was willing to find it and purchase it. But we had part of his Make-A-Wish was to talk to a Lego master, so I was the one who he spoke to. And I asked him what it is that he wanted to do. He's like, I want to make the Death Star, but instead of calling it the Death Star, it's called the Life Star. So it was going to be greenery. It was going to be like just you know, floral and everything.
Right.
And I said, all right, that's an awesome dream. I like so how do you want to go about doing it? He's like, well, I don't want to buy the Death Star because all those pieces are gray and everything like that. I said, well, why don't we do this? Let's look up the instructions for the Death Star. Let's look at all the pieces and let's find those pieces. So we were able to hook up with a few Bricklink folks, and we were able to build this mock. And the way that we did it, we took an existing set with existing instructions, and like you said, Josh, we just build it a different color because that's basically what you do. Like you're taking the instructions and everything like that. You just make it in a different color, and then you're adding to it as you see fit. To be a mock builder is literally taking what already exists in either in the form of an instruction or the form of something that you see every day, and just building it to how you feel it should look. That's the beauty about being a mock builder. No one can tell you what you're building is wrong.
Nope.
Right? Even if you're building something that's supposed to resemble something else, there's hundreds of ways to build it so that it resembles whatever it is you want it to resemble. It doesn't have to be a perfect identical look to it. You know, at the end of the day, that's the whole joy about being a mock builder. Being a mock builder is not supposed to be stressful. Being a set builder is more stressful because if you mess up on one step, you have to literally tear down all the steps that you've added to get to that one spot that you messed up, put it together. And by the time you do that, you're like, man, I don't even feel like building this thing now. I'm done. You know, so the set builders are so much more stressful than a mock builder.
So in that aspect, when I do that, I'm grateful for us having a plethora of brick, because when I build something that I'm like imagining or whatever, and I'll be like, man, I don't like how that turned out. I'm in the middle of a project, leave me alone. I will leave it and I'll build it again, but different, because then I've got like the original. I can see what I liked, what I didn't like. I can compare and contrast, and I can change it as well. And then sometimes you don't like what you've done, and you're like, you know what? I like that better. And that's way less stressful than trying to unbuild it and rebuild it back together. And no, I'll just build a second one. This is my me time. I'm not trying to be stressed.
Yeah. It's building with Lego and just, being able to disconnect, for a certain amount of time is so beneficial. I know Tacos, she had mentioned that she gave her father his first set, at his age, and just him being able to build, that is an amazing thing, to be able to share that with your parents. My mom, she stepped on Lego when we were kids. She's not about to go put together some Lego stuff, right? My dad, he's legally blind, so that's a story I can never have. I would never be able to experience that, that type of joy, to see my parent taking apart a set or putting together a set, so there are a lot of ways that Lego can help not only your mental health, but the mental health of people who are closest to you, because they see the passion that you have for it, and they're willing to share in that passion. My wife, she used to play with Lego when she was younger, when she was a little girl, and she stopped. And me getting on the show was great for me, but it was stressful to her. Yeah. And that was weird, because I never understood why it would be stressful at all. I'm the one who's bearing the burden of going to Hollywood, having those cameras in front of me, and then possibly going on tour and having to deal with all the fandom. I'm the one who's bearing that burden. I didn't understand why she was bearing that. And she told me, she said, well, number one, it's something that I can never relate to. I can never relate to you when it comes to that. I don't know what it's like to be on a show. I don't know what it's like to have hundreds and thousands of people knowing who you are and running up to you at shows. I don't know what it's like. I brought her to Brick World Chicago in 22. First time she's ever seen that level of fandom. And I remember we were standing, all the Lego Masters were standing, and people were just coming up to us, asking questions, signing autographs, all that stuff. And she stood there in horror. And she's like she was like, Corey, I never want to come back to another show, because the fandom was just out of control. The level of attention you have to have and the level of engagement, you're the type of person that's going to engage with everybody. And just to see that, it was stressful for her. And I was like, wow, like I didn't really think about how this would be stressful to the next person until I got her a Lego set. I got her the Winnie the Pooh set. And
look, watching you last year at Brick World, I was standing over with Josh and Lindsay while you guys were all over on the stairs taking pictures and stuff like that. And I'm just standing back watching, and you were bouncing around all over, to the point where you finally got to a point where you literally ran over to get in the picture, jumped up on the middle of the rail in the middle to be in the picture, because you were still bouncing around from fan to fan, saying hi, talking, and being personable and being you. But that's your character. That's you. So I can understand her anxiety with that, because I had it just watching you. And so,
man,
for me, that's just a Saturday.
I want to know how the Pooh set turned out, because we tried that aspect as well, and we got his sister. We were like, we'll get her into Lego. She loves Winnie the Pooh. We'll get her this set. She can build it. It'll be a great experience. No. She got about, a bag in, said, I'm done. The dog has eaten Piglet. I can't do this.
Not Piglet. He wanted bacon.
So we ended up acquiring it and built it. And, she's like, oh, okay, that's really cool. I really like it. You can keep it. We're like, okay. Yeah. But we did try it. So hopefully it was better on your end.
It's still in the box. She hasn't built it. She hasn't built it. However,
it is not being built. With all love and respect, it's not being built.
But to her credit, we live with a 3-year-old who finds his way up into my area of the Lego house, of this house, and he tends to destroy a lot of things. So she said that once we, allocate a different living environment, where we can actually build something, or I can actually have something to store those builds, she will crack it open. But there was a lot of anxiety on her part when she saw all the stuff that I was doing. But then it slowly came down when she started to see, how happy I was, because she saw when I was at my old job how much work, how much effort I put into being the best in my field. And when it was all taken away, she was the one who said, hey, take a year off and just kind of figure out what you want to do next. And I'm Caribbean, so my mother is French. She's from St. Martin. My father's Jamaican. My father is who I emulate a lot of my personality from my father. Like I'm like one out of all of my friends, out of my 6 closest friends, who actually has their father, who knows their father, who were raised with their father. So it's something that is truly near and dear to me. But for when it came to just being able to I lost my train of thought just thinking about that stuff. Yeah.
I hope it wasn't
Relationship and being able to share the Lego in that respect. Yeah.
Yeah, but just being able to do that,
I love that.
It means a lot. And for her, she kind of grew to appreciate, that type of passion, that type of happiness I have when it comes to teaching kids or traveling to different places to teach kids different places. It's taken me all the way to Hawaii just to teach kids. It's taken me places, and it's not a matter of tooting my own hat or anything like that. I'm doing what I love, and I'm able to share that with kids. And she started to appreciate that more and become less stressed out when it comes to, what it is that I do in buying Lego. So, and me moving the Lego out of the house, the sets, at least it did kind of help, so there's more free space. So that's good too.
The question I had for you guys with Lego being employment, do you find it a stress in that respect? This is my job. Well, while we do enjoy what you do you ever have that moment of dread of, I love what I do, but you know what? Today I just don't feel like doing it. I'm sure you do, just because it's a job, but how do you translate that to motivation for those types of situations?
Little Timmy, if you chew on another piece of Lego, you're gonna get punted. No, honestly, I always say I could win the lottery and I would still be doing what I'm doing right now. I'm always excited. I'm more nervous on days that I don't test out a certain mechanism. That's probably the most stressful part, or my batteries die all of a sudden. So now I have to, learning how to improvise when I'm without. That's probably the most stressful part. So
yeah, it's hard to teach mechanics when there's no batteries to make things move.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you can.
Well,
but, you can show mechanisms, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you got to get to that point of improvising. So
that or
the old-fashioned way.
When clients don't pay, it's like, okay.
Yeah, the old-fashioned crank.
I could pay the mortgage with exposure, right?
I actually had this conversation with Taco not too long ago. Because we recently did a tour in the Carolinas, and we were away for a week, and we just traveled all through the Carolinas teaching and everything like that. And not to peel the curtain back too much, I negotiated the entire deal and pricing, and they came back and said, hey, we thought this price was for the two of you, not individuals. And I was like, well, we're driving 2 hours to this location. We're teaching for 3 hours. Normally we would charge this price. And because of the fact that we're doing this, we're going to different different schools, and it's all just one thing. We decided to stick with this price. So it's, we're giving you guys a discount to what we would typically charge for our business. And even then it was still an issue. And, I was very, very frustrated about that. And then it kind of snowballed for me when I got back to Jersey. As an entrepreneur and in our field, we don't get a paycheck every 2 weeks. So he's up.
It's all good, Gord.
Yeah, I was hearing in the background. I was like, is he watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
Yeah, he is. He loves it.
Okay, I just heard Mickey's voice. I was like, he's watching the classics. It's all good.
But yeah, we don't get paid every 2 weeks. We teach classes. We'll teach a session. A session would be 5 to 10 weeks, and we would get either paid the beginning of that session, which is rare, or the end of the session, which is 10 weeks, 5 weeks without, some sort of income coming in. And, for Tacos and I, we contribute to our household as far as the finances is concerned. For me, I'm a breadwinner. So it is imperative that, I get money to pay rent, to pay utilities and stuff like that. Okay, let me open it for you. And, it's
livelihood.
And there are times where I'm like, man, I just want to stay in bed. I don't feel like driving to New York, which is 2 hours, to teach an hour class. But I'm always reminded that the kids, they are looking forward to this class. They had a hard time in school. They had a hard week, like you guys mentioned. One of the kids may have had a bad day, and they are saying, I need Lego class to get me out of my bad day. So I always say, you know what? It could just be that student that needs Lego Master Corey to brighten their day. So I got to put aside how I feel physically, how I feel emotionally, how I feel financially, and I have to go and do that, because at the end of the day, it's not the kids who are paying me to come out and teach. It's their parents, it's their PTA, it's the school district. They're the ones who are doing that. So they don't understand that, and they're not trying to hear that, because I'm providing that service. We will pay you when it's the right time to. So it's for the kids.
The physical reward as well as the emotional reward for dealing with the kids, of them seeing that joy and being like, okay, now I remember why I do this, and this is where I get that joy back of being able to say, okay, I like my job.
That happened to me today, actually. Like, today was the last day of my class, and usually the last day I let the kids kind of build whatever. So I told the kids, you can build whatever, but you have to make it move, because that's what our theme has been. I've been teaching them how to use motors, how to use Power Up and everything. And these kids came up with different types of vehicles. And I'm looking at the vehicles, and I'm just like, oh, wow. I've never thought about putting the motor in the middle of the vehicle. It's always at the rear or in the front of the vehicle. One kid put it in the middle, and it made it drive. I was like, huh, interesting. Another kid used multiple gears to make it drive. I was like, huh, okay. One kid did like an elongated system where the rotation was elongated, so the vehicle kind of did this. And I was like, huh. I'm sitting there taking notes, like, okay, yeah, I could do this in a different class. Oh, I could do a class, wacky vehicles. I'm getting all these ideas now, and I'm like, oh, that's why I come to class. It's not only for me to teach,
fresh and new,
right? For me to be taught as well by the kids. So, it's a reminder all the time that it's bigger than me. It's bigger than what I feel.
Love that.
Yeah, they always get a fresh new start with us when it comes to like Lego class. And it's just clicking those bricks is therapeutic for me. I deal with anxiety, so I find that greebling helps with my anxiety for some reason. So I'm looking forward to building the Milky Way, because I'm assuming that's somewhat greebled.
All of it.
That's a big ass set. So I'm hoping any moment I'm about to pop off. So chances are I'm going to be using that as a set to deal with, to cope with. So
Yep.
yeah.
Sorting is another big one for me, of just getting a bulk bin of color or tub of random parts and just sorting it out.
Yeah.
Put a show on the TV and just veg out of
Cups for you. Come to my house.
I'm slacking on my end too. I have a few.
One of my students, he's very type A. and he likes to organize my axle container. So I take full advantage. Here. Yeah, I kid you not. It was actually it's enjoyable for him. So I invite him anytime to come to my house. When I first started teaching,
moving them all straight.
I was dealing with behavioral issues. I was, new to teaching this style. Because once again, I was a pre-K teacher. So dealing with older kids, dealing with some 11 punk ass kids, like, no, I'm not dealing with this attitude. And I kid you not, I think this was in the second month into teaching, I decided to actually dump out one of my gears container, or maybe it was an axle container, and I was like, you guys deal with this. You need to organize it. And they hated it at first, but by the end, they started organizing other containers, and that was it. So it almost became therapeutic for them. Mm-hmm. So I think that was actually a really cool lesson. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. You know what I mean? You don't want to hear that the kids didn't build anything all day and that all they were doing is sorting.
Working.
But, yeah.
You're going to work to build this.
Remember that. That's from 8 years ago now.
I enjoy doing that at the end of a season. So for me and Tacos, we have I don't know. Well, maybe not for Tacos because she's kind of chaotic. I break my stuff down into seasons. So I have my fall season, my winter season, my spring season, my summer season. So at the end of the season, I get to just go through all of my stuff that the students dealt with and see, all right, well, what was taken, what was broken, what was, mixed in, how can I reorganize my things so it's easier for the kids to locate stuff. So it's very therapeutic for me because I start to take inventory. I start to say, okay, what else I have to order? I'm like, okay, well, you know what? This class was very, very good, but my arrangement system was terrible. So let me rearrange all this stuff to see, if this works better.
An opportunity to put your life back into an order or into a system.
Right.
To reset things.
It's fun. It's fun for me. I love doing stuff like that.
I have now gotten into meal prepping, and that's organization in my life right now.
Yes. I started doing that this year.
As you had seen me earlier in the episode, I was eating. That was my meal prep.
Nice.
No, I like how Lego and mental health are kind of coping with each other because my mom, my sister, and my brother all build now.
Nice.
I did not expect that. My mom's most recent set that I bought her was the Vincent van Gogh sunflower set.
Nice.
Because we both, little story behind that. I bought her that set because she and I went to Amsterdam when I was a kid for an art class. And we went to the Vincent van Gogh museum there. And she loved the painting. She loved the painting. We purchased a poster of it. She still has it. And that was our solo trip together for my school. We went to Amsterdam, which was great. And she was just like, oh my God, this is a set. And I was like, yeah, it is. So I bought it for you. I need to get one myself so I can have matching ones.
Nice.
But my sister builds now. And then my brother, it was funny. He was here for Christmas. He lives in the Philippines. He was here for Christmas and he doesn't have access to as much Lego or Mega Block products, but he came out and he loves Pokemon. He found Mega Block and he was just sitting there one day, just started building on the recliner. It didn't care what position he was in. He was just building. And I was sitting there. I was like, it's not a bad idea. And I had a set in the room. And I was like, let me put up a tray and I'll start building next to you. Mom took a picture of us building Lego sets on the recliner. I was like, I could see this being I'm just a kid video. If that was the thing for us in the past.
Best friend.
I loved it. But and then
awesome.
My sister's gotten into it now, so I'm happy. I'm stoked that my family's gotten into it. Heck, my dad's even thought about buying me sets. I'm just like, that's really weird of you to actually think of that now.
No, it's not. You've been waiting for that forever. Yes, please purchase me every holiday. Every birthday.
He was ready to buy my Brick World Chicago pass, and I was like,
good man.
I was like sitting there. I was like, what? No way. And he was just like, yeah, I was looking at it for you. And I was like, huh, okay.
You should invite him. Be like, come.
I know. I told him it's Father's Day. It's Father's Day weekend. And I was like, I'm on a cruise with my father, right? I was like, oh, that's right. You're going to the Caribbean with your dad. I'm like,
Wait, this is your dad?
My dad, yeah.
Your dad's gonna go on.
My dad is going on a cruise with my grandfather, his dad.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I love my. Yeah, no, my dad was my best man for my wedding. I love that. Yeah. First time I saw him heavy cry ever.
My dad, he was sitting in it was before my wedding, and he was crying. Only see my dad cry 3 times in my life. And he was bawling. I was like, Dad, you all right? What's up? What's wrong? He was just like, just happy. I was like, I can't cry today, Dad.
I know we're going on a tangent, but I've seen my dad cry 3 or 4 times. Once was he got the final rank that he needed in the military. Was his last promotion for the Air Force, which was great. Worked like 3 years to get. I think he worked for like 2 or 3 years to get that. His retirement ceremony, he cried. My sister's wedding, when he was walking her down the aisle. And then the day that I asked him to be my best man, he started welling up and held my hand, and I was like, dang it.
Men don't cry.
Nah, we sweat really bad from our eyes.
Oh.
We'll get watery eyes, and that's about it.
That could be your next podcast. Make men cry.
Oh, so it's just like get Jake on there.
Yeah.
No. I love how Lego is making its impact through so many different lives. And you don't have to. Yeah. No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, my dad got his first set, and first thing it was a kid's like 5-year-old set.
Yeah.
It was I wanted to get him into the Lego Speed Champions, but it's gonna take a while to get there because he has Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So that he's got the shaky hands and everything. He's like old. So that's why when you were talking about your father and going out, going on a cruise with your grandfather, it's just making my head turn.
Sorry.
Yeah. But
There's
already
levels.
it took him like 45 minutes to do that 5-year-old set. And that was with my assistants. And the first thing he said is like, all right, where's the next set? It's like,
All right.
Chill, dude. No. He wants a bicycle. Have you seen a Lego set with a bicycle? Like that you build a bicycle?
Yeah.
Oh. Not like the minifig bicycle.
No, I seen an AI one of it a while back. But
it probably is like an
on Pinterest there is a bike. You could probably piece together a little kit for him.
Yeah.
They had a motorcycle creator set.
Yeah, they
green motorcycle.
Which takes me, I was going to say this earlier because you were talking about somebody was mentioning that they don't have Lego Corey, you wouldn't be able to experience Lego with your parents because they weren't able to build or whatever. So my parents, my mom would not build either, but I built her a set, that little motorcycle because she was a motorcycle girl growing up, like all her life, always had motorcycles, whatever. And so I was like, I know you can't build this, but I know you can appreciate it. And I know you'll appreciate it because I built it for you. And it's something I like and it's something you like. And so it's on your mantle. So it's kind of a roundabout way of being like, I know you can't, but I still want you to enjoy it like I do,
Yeah.
At least share and partake in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's funny now that during like Christmas, now it's like everyone's stable whenever they're bringing the packages to everyone because someone doesn't want to shake it under the influence. Because my dad, for my mom's gifts, my dad has started buying Lego sets for my mom, which I thought it was the most adorable thing in the world. He was like, I'm getting your mom a Valentine's Day gift. I'm like, what is it? Sends me a picture. It's the rose bouquet. And I was like, you cheese ball.
I was going to say the heart.
I was like, you cheese ball. And now every time it's Christmas, nobody we pick up the package and we move it safely over to the person without shaking because no one wants to ruin the surprise. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is great.
There's a solution for that. What you do is you buy regular gifts and then you put it in a larger box and just put loose Lego around it. So every box sounds like Lego.
Horrible.
I like this idea.
Horrible. I would have my heart broken if it's not real Lego.
I'm going to send a package over to Tacos.
Horrible. Horrible.
I got a gift for you in
Socks.
Chicago.
A bunch of socks.
Mom,
You know?
She likes
my
that.
mom will every once in a while. My mom will every once in a while get me a Lego set. I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I want the real stuff. Sorry to say,
She
like,
wants to be pure, family.
ridiculous.
I do want to know where you get those chicken leg socks because that's low key funny.
I've seen those.
Taco, I want you to know, I'm not offended at all. I'm a Lego builder. I have no problem with it.
Oh no,
But-
I get stuff from Brickcraft as well. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Well,
every once in a while we'll pick up.
The formerly known as Fun Hole Company, which is now Lumi Bricks. I've worked with them extensively doing the engineering side of looking at the build quality and stuff like that to make sure it's compatible with Lego so that they can integrate better. So
Yeah, I've seen some of their cyberpunk style architecture. I think it's actually really cool. So I've been actually wanting to pick one of those up.
they've got some really nice lighting sets, and that's one of the things that they try to emphasize and make sure that they actually talk with Lego quite a bit to make sure that they stick to their IPs and do not cross over with Lego.
Wow.
For that reason, so that they can have their brand independent from Lego. But that's where it comes into the gray area of making sure that it's compatible, like any of their modular type buildings, matching up for footprints and stuff like that, so they can be integrated for the consumer in the same environment without overstepping or trying to overtake or take away from another company, so that they can establish themselves as well. So they're very, very confined about that.
Nice.
Wow.
So we're kind of getting close to wrapping up here. I do want to ask, I know Lego and mental health, it's kind of a nice way to kind of cope with one another, but is there, just to everybody, is there something else, and even to the chat, is there something else that you do to cope with your mental health besides Lego? I know we all love Lego and we love building it, and it's a nice way to kind of escape from reality, but is there something else that you do outside of Lego that you like to cope with your mental health with?
I do two things.
Outside.
I'm going to start with the guest up here at the top. Right?
I do two things. In the morning, I go to the gym. That helps with my mental health.
You're about to talk about the Ashton Hall routine.
Oh man, he is out of control, man. That is way too much.
That's gonna be an off the episode chat.
Yes.
So you go to the gym.
Yeah. I go to the gym.
Those numbers too. I watch those numbers. I count the weights. I'm keeping track, brother.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I verify every time, making sure he's adding those up right.
He's going light today. He's only got 3, and see he needs 4.
Listen, I'm 40, so I'm not trying to destroy myself. But every morning, after my kid gets ready to go to school and everything like that, I go to the gym, and the gym helps me to get my mind ready for the day and get my mind set for the day. So I always have a goal in mind. I always have a certain amount of time that I'm going to dedicate to the gym. And on Thursdays, I go bowling. So I'm part of a league just for fun. That's what it's called. So it's no pressure to perform. But I've been bowling for, I want to say, about 20 years. The last 3 years, a consistent bowling and learning the game and just enjoying it. I used to go bowling after work, and whenever I get stressed out at work, I have a customer that really got underneath my skin. I would imagine that customer's face or that customer's number as the pins, and I would just destroy those pins just to get all that anger and animosity out. And after that, I'm like, it's so therapeutic. I feel so much better in life. So those are the two things I do outside of Lego that helps with my mental health, and praying, of course. So
there you go. Tacos.
I burn off the crazy with Zumba. It's like the fastest hour. Something about twerking. I don't know. I'm just joking.
No, you're not. You were so not joking.
No, it's just I teach a high intensity class, and it just really helps. It's extremely cathartic for me.
5 minutes of trying to keep up, I was dying.
That was way too much. Yeah.
Everyone told me at Brick World the following day that they were just like walking like zombies.
I'm scared to do one of these classes now.
No, you're not. You're gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it because I'm committed.
And then you're like, cool, okay. And then she's like, all right, that's the warm up. Now you ready? And we're like, warm up. Out.
It's like going to a trampoline park. You're in there for like 5 minutes. You're like, whoo, I'm winded. It's like, yeah, you still got like another 55 minutes to go. It's like, oh my God.
I did make the mistake. I did have Bricker Build's big Captain America shield holding it while trying to do the Zumba. So that was mistake number one.
You're nuts.
We had Brooks O'Brien in a cow outfit, I think.
Yep.
Hell
He was in there in a cow.
Oh my goodness.
Whatever makes you feel good.
But like Corey, I like to lift as well. I like to rock climb. But dancing definitely is cathartic. It's something, most Dominicans, most Hispanics grew up doing. So actually a lot of people don't dance now, but it's something that we just,
I could see a character like you being in the play called In the Heights.
I lived in the Heights.
You lived
right on Dykeman. I lived right on Dykeman Street, and I have my opinions about that play. I lived right there. So yes, music was morning and night. You go to sleep and it's boom, 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 boom. You've seen those memes where someone's pulling up and the volume is like, yeah, that's my family. So.
Love that. Brick Dad. I'll look up while I do this.
For me, I've had a lot of experiences with multiple things, from gym time like Corey, yoga or Zumba. My current partner, spouse, is a yoga instructor, so she often drags me into, hey, I want to try something for a class. So I end up doing a lot of trials and stuff like that for her when she wants to try something out before she does a class. She does a lot of senior classes as well, so chair yoga and stuff like that, so she can really get people going and stuff like that. But for the most part, for me, it's mostly just taking time away from everything. I isolate to a quiet environment and just listen to the hum of tinnitus in my ears. As I just sit back and I have a fondness for cigars and whiskey, with a recollection and an understanding from
not cigars.
Family, their histories and stuff like that, where they can very much be used inappropriately. So I'm very aware of that. So for me, it's a occasional cigar or a small sip of a very expensive whiskey. Like with Lego, the higher the dollar, the slower I'm going to go with it, so that I can get every dollar out of it. But for the most part, it's just centering myself. At 50, I don't have the agility that I used to have to go to a gym and drop 350 pounds on a bench or something like that and press stuff like I used to. So I'm happy to go up and down the stairs now. So I'm retired military. So a lot of my life experiences have been physical in nature with the stuff that I did while I was in the military. So I understand the total aspect of the physical release of being able to do all of that and how beneficial that is. Unfortunately for me, I've got blown out shoulders and stuff like that, so I can't do those types of things as much as I used to. So now it's literally, if I have good enough weather, I will go out and smoke a cigar out on the patio and watch the clouds go by and literally just smell flowers. If I can take a walk down to the park during spring and stop and smell a flower and literally just appreciate God's grace of what's there in front of me and be able to experience it. That puts a lot of life in perspective for me, especially having dealt with the loss that I've had to deal with, as well as with my new spouse having lost her husband and the kids having lost a dad. So being able to literally slow life down and just be in the moment is my way of recentering myself.
Nice.
For me, it's a little opposite, because for me, whenever I'm stressed and I get to try to isolate myself, I get more overwhelmed. So I like to find a small group of people to necessarily talk to or hang out with, to more pull me away from those distractions. Like going by myself, that's torture. Like hearing the ringing in your ears, like, no, it's all the voices instead come through, and I'm not by myself anymore. And I have nobody to reflect to. So I prefer to stick with at least a couple people, hang out, just relax.
Some K1 racing.
Yep.
Nice.
Do something that causes my adrenaline to spike.
Lindsay.
I garden.
Nice.
I plant. I do all the lively things of greenery and
Botanicals.
my plants alive, which sometimes is stressful. So it's not always zen, but it is nice when you just have that routine of like every day of like, all right, this is my time. I get to go check on my plants. Now that it's warm outside, they're outside. So I get to go outside and check on my plants and air and sunshine and
Nice.
nature.
Shoot, I'll close it out. I like to cook.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did.
Man, I like to cook. I like to cook when I'm stressed and kind of get myself out. Just because I like the sound of a sizzling pan. And then I'll play. It's weird. Whenever I cook, I always listen to techno symphony. So I listen to symphony orchestras, but then there's the techno aspect that I put in, that I listen to it.
That surprises me, but it doesn't. I'm okay.
One that I'm really hooked on right now is Vivaldi's Seasons, the winter, in a techno form. It's great. I love it. You just hear the sound of a violin, and then there's that beat drop at the end. I'm like, yeah, this is what I needed. Most recent meal prep was ribeye with sweet potato hash and Brussels sprouts.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna start talking about food again, aren't we?
No, we're not. We're not. Just stop right there.
I made chicken fried rice.
Oh god!
Oh, nice.
Some boneless
I'm
fried
gonna go to
chicken
sleep eating rice cakes.
and roasted tomatoes.
I did not meal prep, so I'm gonna be shoving rice cakes down this gullet.
Tomatoes have flowers. They're gonna bloom soon. I'm so excited.
Oh, Jedi Lex, I'm so happy that you're here. We're about to close out now.
Thank you.
But you can
Thank you.
rewatch
That means a lot to me, for wanting to have this type of conversation. And this is one that we need to have, not just once a year in May when it's Mental Health Awareness Month. This is one that we need to continue to have and make sure that we keep it addressed in the community, because this community, a lot of us will dive into Lego to escape, and we need to make sure that we address the actual root causes of those types of hardships so that we can address them and stay mentally healthy.
Exactly.
Can I mention one last thing? Just based on what you just said, Chris. Therapy. In my culture, men are not supposed to go through therapy. We're men. We're supposed to just deal with whatever it is and just keep going. But I had to go through therapy last year, and that has helped me a lot. And with the recent loss of my sister, this past December, right before the Bricktacular special aired, that could have set me down a really dark path. And it's because of therapy and what I've learned from my therapist and with friends around me and family around me, it definitely helped me not to spiral, because I'm the rock in my family. So my mother, my father, my brothers and sisters, they depend on me. They lean on me because I'm always the constant. And that was the first time where I didn't want to be that constant. I wanted to lash out. I wanted to be mad at the world because this shouldn't happen. Not, my sister, she died at 50. This shouldn't have happened. It can't happen. I'm not believing it, but therapy. Don't be afraid to talk to a professional who is there to listen and to give you some sort of advice that will help you cope. So it's definitely helped me out. And don't be afraid to do it.
I'm actually heading to a seminar tomorrow in Washington, D.C., which is a grief and mental health awareness seminar for a week. I'm going to be speaking with congressmen, senators, as well as group leaders in the community to address that. My major focus is men's mental health. Yeah. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to have this. So again, I appreciate all of you guys being here tonight. Corey, one of the reasons I addressed it was because I knew your recent loss with your sister, and just having Lego in our lives and how it affects us both as a career and the stresses of a business, as well as then being our releases as well, and seeing the joys, how we share it individually, because we each share it in our unique ways, with kids, with adults, all the way around. So Taco, it was a pleasure getting to talk to you more. I look forward to more conversation in the future, of course. And of course, for our main hosts here, thank you guys very much for opening up the forum and making this possible to have this conversation. And I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you for having the event. Like, it was, as soon as you said you wanted to do it, on board, 100%. Like, that's
absolutely.
Couldn't have had it better.
Speaking on building on communities, folks, before we close out here, where can we find our special guest? Brick Nite, I'm going to start off with you. Where can we find you? What's your tag?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You can find me brick.dad.builds on any of those. If you do just Brick Dad or hashtag Brick Dad, you should pull me up on all of them.
Tacos.
Insta, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, maybe? I don't know. I haven't posted that stuff in a while. Legos, Tacos, Burritos, combined with Corey to teach STEM classes under Geared Up.
I like how Corey changed up his name on the thing too. That's great. And Corey, where can we find you? Sorry.
There you go. You can find me anywhere.
Genius.
Sam's Brego, SAMZBREGO. And as Taco said, you could find both of us on Geared Up STEM, where we do post our adventures in the world of STEM. We are looking forward to teaching at Chicago and for beyond. So reach out to us if you would like for us to come out into your schools, into your areas to bring in that Lego STEM goodness.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Is that the next time that we see you guys? Do you have any other shows coming out before then, or any other activities?
I have a few in-school visits. I have 2 career days, and I have a few assemblies between those 3 weeks. So
I'm teaching up until before I fly out.
So Chicago it is, and yeah.
Yes,
I'm gonna point this out. Corey, I got you, but I think you got a new chest print coming in, unless I'm mistaken. But I got that hair going for you.
Nice. That is awesome. That is awesome.
So, I don't have a taco.
He looks a little bit like Prince. I'm just saying. What? No.
This is where I'm gonna just throw up our little socials update before we close.
Taco, you're the one that got to work with him.
Oh god. Oh god. Well, just to close this out, God, I'll mute everybody else.
Yep. Take them all down.
Oh, God, Tacos is gonna blast that microphone with her laugh. That's hilarious. Oh, folks, if you enjoyed tonight's episode, please catch us on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't worry, we'll be on time next time, but this time was just a little gimme. We are live on YouTube on the ELPN channel. We are Brick Nite. You can find us on Instagram at Brick Nite, where he is a 3, and then on TikTok at Brick Nite. You can locate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The episode will populate on Saturday or Sunday, depending on when I get around to it. And then, of course, follow the content creators that are behind this channel. With the raised up eyebrow over there, that's at Unhappy Mohawk. With the, God, I gotta retake that picture, ball cap of mine, it's yours truly at Ken.nerd with the E's are 3s in that definite tag. The very excited lady in the front at Supacabre, and then the gentleman who's missing from tonight's podcast with a finger always on his chin in every episode. If you rewatch it, you'll see that, folks. Is hers truly at brick.it.jake. I'm very happy that we got to have this episode. I'm going to unmute everybody now. Oh, wait.
You may speak.
Let me unmute him.
I don't want to talk now. I don't want to laugh now.
I didn't say it was obnoxiously bad. I just thought it was hilarious.
Sorry.
And we spent close to 2 hours talking about mental health and Tacos. We'll go ahead. Someone's mental health. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Thankfully, I don't need to see you until Chicago, so I have time to.
I was going to say you're safe until Chicago.
Yeah, I can recover. She's far away from me.
You're enabling him.
3 weeks.
We do not tolerate this. Okay.
Hey, how's that mark on the side?
He slapped me. Can you believe that?
What do you slap you with a 1x8 brick?
So when we're away, when we're doing these shows with Brick Fan Expo, I'm the designated driver. So I have to pick up the rental and I have to drop this one to her hotel and pick her up from her hotel. So I go to pick her up just like any other day or any other show. And she comes in and she has this gash, like this. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened to you? Like when I left you yesterday, your face didn't look like that. She was like, oh, it was the hot iron and I burned myself with the hot iron. I'm like, but don't you hot iron every single day? She was like, oh, I burned myself. You know what? I'm going to tell everybody you slapped me. I was like, what? How did we get to this level?
You didn't say that I was slapped. It's easier. But I can actually feel the burn mark.
I mean, I assume you felt it when it was first ignited on your face.
No, but like I could feel the skin change.
Yeah.
It'll eventually just kind of make a little scab for you. Dead skin, you just gotta like flake off.
That's what's happened. It's a scab now. So.
And I kept telling her, please
say, I can relate because when I curl, I had that problem. So I can, when
I forget that you use a curling iron on your mustache.
You legit use a curling iron for your
that is awesome.
Your mustache?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Occasionally do. Normally I just use rollers and just set it with rollers and stuff like that and then wax.
I was gonna say that's actually a really good idea. That would work pretty well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Josh.
I haven't flat ironed it yet.
Exactly. So. I need to right out.
I almost entered that phase of because like during the pandemic I let my hair like grow and like the mustache was like starting to grow like this. I was like, maybe I could do this. And like people, the kids saw it, they were like, what's wrong with your mustache? I was like, I'm not doing
Getting rid of it.
With a full big beard all at once and everything. And I would give Josh a run for the money on the beard there with how full my beard was before and stuff. And then it started trimming up a little bit more. And I was like, I'm keeping the mustache though.
Definitely.
I like the mustache.
So, well, thank you. Yeah. It's a signature and it makes me very recognizable also.
So Tacos, you hear that? Maybe you should start letting yours grow out. I mean,
I get more like sporadic like chin hairs, like bing.
Oh, so you're like turning into me a little bit there then.
There you go.
Yeah, totally.
the next time you have us on, she'll be this.
I literally have car tweezers. After you hit a certain age,
next time I was here,
I was like, "What the heck was that there? That wasn't there earlier."
I understand car tweezers. I have someone that has them also.
Wow.
I'm just seeing that there's a private chat. I didn't even notice that earlier.
Oh yeah, there's a private chat. But without further ado, we'll close out the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, to our guests again, Brick Dad Builds, Corey, as well as Tacos. We appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have a fantastic evening, and we'll see y'all next week with the next special guest, which we will be debuting in a couple of days.
I didn't know we were still live.
You're welcome. Oh, you're welcome. You're so welcome. Okay, folks, here's the outro.